I guess what I'm pointing or wanting you to point to, I'm asking a very leading question, is, I mean, how do you define what spirituality is, and how do you help people explore that for themselves when they've never really had a large measure of freedom in doing that? That spirituality has been a very kind of black and white, closed kind of option. It's a playground, right? And suddenly that someone lets the kid out and goes, actually, you can play outside the playground if you want. But you don't know what to do. Like, what the heck am I supposed to do outside the playground? Where's the slides? There's no slides, you know. We have to get creative to make a slide.
Yeah, I would first help them get rid of the word supposed. In our family, we don't should on ourselves. Like Kristen has this great, yeah, we don't should. There's no shoulding here. So let's get rid of should and supposed. So there's really basic things like being in your body, whatever it is. Let's move from having an adversarial relationship with the body to this body is home. So let's assume it's on your side. By the way, all issues of environment or earth care, if people don't have a sense of being at home in their own body and caring for their own body well, how would they ever understand caring for the earth? So oftentimes the environmental movement, it's wonderful in getting people to understand the climate crisis is the absolute crisis of utmost urgency. And yet oftentimes you're asking people to understand something that they don't understand in terms of this body, like their actual body. So how do you feel at home in your own body? How do you learn to listen to your inner knowing, also called intuition, also called spirit? How do you, these are all the very practical questions of life. What is it, if you look back over your life, when were those moments that you had some sense that you were caught up in something bigger than yourself, that this was somehow your path? What was it that you were doing? Healing, organizing, repairing, fixing, teaching, creating? What is that? Do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I would just start with all sorts of questions. These are all the questions of life. Spiritual life is life. That's the point of everything is spiritual. Like, this is all the depth of life. And secondly, then, by spiritual, most people now, I mean, it's been somewhat in fashion, this sort of reductionist materialism. We're all just a collection of cells and synapses. This felt very fresh and sort of science for a while there. You know what I mean? Oh, come on. It's just your brain's just cooking up those chemicals that make you feel that way. There is no, but that's starting to be shown for the naivete that it is. There's something more going on. There's something more going on here. There's some depth. There's some mystery that can't be summarized by the latest TED Talk. So what do you call that? And then that's why there's an ancient tradition of thousands of years of people talking about this. And now it just becomes the enjoyment of how did people name it? So even the Jesus tradition takes place within a larger human exploration of how do you name this? What do you call it? Where does it lead? What are the patterns? So orientation, disorientation, reorientation, there are all these ancient patterns all around us. There are interior experiences, exterior experiences. There are objective experiences, subjective experiences. There are individual experiences. There are communal experiences. We can go all day on this. Yeah, so I would, for people, anybody who's like, but it's so wide open, where do I even start? I know. I know. That's why some of us find this experience we're having here thoroughly riveting and intoxicating. Because so even like some meditation, contemplative prayer, some practice of grounding yourself in the you who is the witness to the you who is the witness to you. It's just some practice of who are you and what are you doing here? And you see, I'm trying to paint it as fun and surprising and interesting and compelling, and your anxieties and your angst aren't to be eliminated, they're to be listened to. They're telling you something. Restlessness is your soul saying, hey, hey, there's some new creation that wants to be birthed
Mm.
here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think the trouble I certainly have had in my initial I've always kind of found it fun and exciting. So I struggle because I talk to
Yes, I can
hundreds
tell.
of people, thousands of people, that 98% of them are going, "Oh my God, I'm having an existential crisis and I'm gonna just like, why do I even exist? Like I'm so terrified." And I'm like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
found that really fun. I found that
Yeah, no, oh yeah,
exhilarating, right?"
right.
Like I take psychedelics, have a like ego death experience, and I'm like, God, that was the worst thing I've ever experienced. I can't wait for that to happen again one day. Like that's my response. Where most people I know are like, Jesus, now I know what ego death is. I'm out. But that's just my idea. I don't know what that is. I'm not naturally optimistic or anything. I'm quite a pessimistic guy. I don't know what that is, but I do know that for me, one of the problems I had with this sudden expanse of playground, a field of like, go have fun, like follow your intuition. A lot of my intuition was clouded by my experience. So we talk about, oh, learn to be in your body, trust your body. I'm like, well, I've got 25 years of your body is evil and sinful, and you really better not trust your heart. Also some teaching on like how your heart actually knows better, or like weird teachings that were like, we had to figure out which ones are which. But there's a lot of stuff in there that is, like, don't take psychedelics. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in the Bible, definitely, right? Or people going, oh, I just had Kevin Garcia on, who's like a queer theologian, but is into witchcraft and tarot readings and stuff, and just going, I'm finding Jesus and Christianity, exploring that through like tarot cards. And I'm like, I guarantee early on in this journey, that would not have been something I would have looked on the list and gone, oh, I'll explore that one. I would have been like, oh my God, that's scary. And I guess it's a weird one, following your intuition, following like that kind of like that drawing, when on some level you have been on a very fundamental level told not to believe that, but also it's probably even wired to lie to you in a sense. So you're wired to go, okay, I can't trust my body, or I shouldn't trust being embodied and being present. Meditation, isn't that demonic? Isn't that emptying your mind, or whatever Christian, some conventional Christians have taught,
Wow, that's amazing.
Do you have thoughts on how to navigate learning to trust that inner voice, intuition, the spirit, when also aware that on some level that inner voice has been indoctrinated into us to hold us back from that journey on some level?
First off, sometimes you might need structure. So just this sort of squishy, just see where it goes, man. You might need structure. So you might need 12 steps. Lots of people find the structure of 12 steps incredibly helpful because it gives like a direction. A lot of people find therapy, psychoanalysis incredibly helpful because there's like a guide who's going to help you. Okay, so we're going to go back through your childhood. Let's just take apart some of those the traumas that seem to be still speaking. Let's go in there, see what's there. So it's important to point out that sometimes the answer isn't just a free flowing, hey man, we'll see. Sometimes it's like structure. And then secondly, I would say sometimes you ask, what's my most pressing question? And then you become a student. So who writes about this? Where is the body of, where is the collective wisdom on this? So where's the collective wisdom on quieting the mind? You can find these things. Do you know what I mean? So I often
Absolutely.
It can get really vague and ambiguous. So I would often just ask the person, well, what is it? Stress, worry, tension, anxiety? What's the thing? What do you want? There's this great line where Jesus asks a man, what do you want? What do you want me to do for you? So sometimes desire is the way in. Like, what do you want? I want to have a sense that I'm whatever it is. Okay, well, good. Then let's give ourselves to this question. I have a friend right now who's been going through this massive transformation because he grew up in this very rigid system, and so he just has this pattern of replacing. He just keeps looking for the new guru. So we have been working over the past year to just help free him. So he's freeing himself from the idea that there's some guru
Yeah.
who has what he needs.
Yeah.
So every time he comes across this, if someone would just, oh wait, let me be calm, quiet, still, see if I already have it. The kingdom of God's within you, and just watching him radically transform before my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's beautiful.
as opposed to this vague, generally your life is already speaking to you.
Mhm.
There's some angst, there's some question, there's something where you're like, I would love people with kids, like I would love to be less anxious about my kids. Okay, great. Good. Let's make that the door in. And away we go.